Howdy, y'all. That's probably better. Howdy, y'all. I'm Professor Parks, PhD, and I advocate for the advancement of astronomy. If you like that sort of thing, please click like, share, subscribe, and the bell for notifications. I don't post often, but when I do, it's going to be about some kind of science education or something related to astronomy in specific. That is going to be the main focus of my channel moving forward. So why? Well, first off, I would like to say hello to Coco, Judy, Roisin. Thank you for being here today. Apologies, I'm a bit under the weather, so I'm not as energetic as I was, say, the last time we were here. But without further ado, effectively what I'm going to be showing is a fairly low-key stream, not a lot of me talking, but where I show you the view from Orion, or view from Integrity, as it goes beyond the moon, as it passes behind the moon. So we'll lose communication with Integrity for about, I don't know, it's probably around half an hour, I think. I'd have to double check that. So here we are at present. Hey, howdy, Clive. We're about to find out, actually, whether or not I was able to convince the lunar peoples that, in fact, Integrity was a science mission, and hopefully they've listened and will not shoot it down with their lunar lasers. And I think I've said too much. But if my diplomatic mission was unsuccessful, then things will go badly. Howdy, Pale Rider, Melissa. Thank you. I don't know if I've seen you on the stream before. I have some wrenches that I need to give out at some point. Wait a minute, can I do that now? Can I do that here? There we go. Coco, I've given you the power of moderation, although flat earthers really, or disrespectful folks, generally speaking, don't come onto my chat for one reason or another. Can we just skip to the alien invasion? I don't know. I'm of a mixed mind on that. I don't know how they could. Well, they could always make things worse, but I don't know whether or not. I don't know if it's a risk. Oh, hold on. I'm getting feedback.
I want to read up to you. Handover time here.
There we go.
And I have a couple of items I want to read up to you. They'll require you to write something down on your knee boards. So let me know when you're ready.
So we've got them chatting. I don't know how loud it is for you. It's not very loud for me. I don't even know if y'all can hear it out there.
Okay, Houston, we are ready.
Copy Integrity. First of all, once you start this next shift here, during this lunar observation shift, we will begin our lunar LOS, so you can expect a call from me a few minutes prior reminding you. And second of all, Fido just sent us updated altitudes and METs for lunar closest approach and max Earth altitude. Let me know when you are ready to write those down. They differ slightly from Optimus.
So again, I don't know if you can hear the radio broadcast through this. Level is okay? All right.
Lunar closest approach will be at MET 5 days, 0 hours, 25 minutes, 34 seconds.
That's very specific.
Altitude will be 4,067 statute miles. Maximum Earth altitude will be at MET 5 days, 0 hours, 27 minutes, 39 seconds, with an altitude of 252,756 statute miles.
Okay, so I would like to take this opportunity to apologize on behalf of NASA that for reasons that I still don't understand, we are still using imperial units.
The crew really wants to ask for that in kilometers and in parsecs, but thank you for those.
Parsecs?
That is great. Thank you for the
Really?
update.
Parsecs? Okay.
I'll send Fido to work, and I appreciate the metric. Other than that, I have no new vehicle statuses to pass to you. Enjoy your handover time, and we're looking forward to picking back up with you shortly.
So kilometers, all about kilometers. Because the other thing that I found with the NASA
I will talk to you
communication
shortly.
is that sometimes they'll use nautical miles and then sometimes they'll use statute miles, which are not the same. I actually don't, because I do not care for imperial units. I actually don't know which is, I think nautical miles are longer, but I don't care. So what you're seeing here on this, on the Earth, furlongs per fortnight, my favorite velocity measurement or unit. The dark stain that you see in the bottom right, that is Mare Orientale. It's one of the only, believe it's one of two Mare that are actually on what one might consider the far side of the moon. Orientale is actually on sort of the limb or rim. So depending on how the current wobble of the moon is, it's called nutation. Sometimes we see a little bit more of one side than the other. And depending on the orientation, you can actually see Orientale in a telescope or a set of binoculars. The other Mare, whose name is Russian and escapes me, is dead set on the far side of the moon. And Orientale is beautiful in that, howdy, Chris, Durham. Orientale is beautiful in that it is a multi-ring crater system. Now, I would definitely recommend that you Google it. I'm not going to do it here. I like the setup that I have. But I definitely recommend you Google it. And that definitely indicates that Orientale was formed from an extremely energetic impact. So either we had a very massive impactor, like a stony iron or an iron meteorite, or it was traveling at a high rate of speed, or both. And so what happened was, as that impactor crashed into the moon was still geologically active at this point, meaning that it had a semi-fluid mantle of liquid hot magma. And the impact was great enough that it was able to split open the crust at that point. And magma was able to upflow from that and then flow over the basin of the crater at that point. But unlike with other Mare that we see, most of the major Mare that you see with your naked eye, this impact was energetic enough that it actually caused a shockwave to propagate through the lunar surface. And so you see these basically rings. So it caused a standing, my assumption is that it caused a standing wave in the surface, and then the surface cooled very quickly and froze that sort of wave into the topography. The reason why we don't see such crater features on other Mare is because the lava was able to spread out over a much larger area and eradicate the evidence of it. And the fact that America never converted to metric is empirical evidence that if you put something off long enough, if you put something off long enough, you never have to actually do it. My trash can would disagree with that. I try to put that thing off as long as I possibly can that I don't actually have to do it, but things get a little messy after a while. Howdy, Star Cotter. The other thing I want to point out is, and maybe I'm wrong about this, earlier today, probably around 3:30, one of the astronauts was asking for a crater identification. It was a crater that at the time was on the meridian or on the terminator. Now, I could be wrong as to the astronaut's directions. He was basically, I assume that he was talking about a small little kind of mare, which was off of the Oceanus, whatever that is, directly through Oriental, off to the side. But whatever it was, I could be wrong. It could have been another feature. They claimed it was the Zeeman crater. First quip or nitpick. It's Zeeman. Any physicist will tell you that it's Zeeman, named after the dude who came up with the Zeeman effect, which is a splitting of a spectral feature in the presence of a magnetic field. It is one of the major tools that astronomers use to determine the strength of the magnetic field in at least stars, and I'm assuming it's also used for planetary astronomy, like with Jupiter. So it's Zeeman, and according to my map, Zeeman was well behind the Terminator, so I don't know what they were looking at. I think it was Blackett, but I ain't a NASA dude, so maybe I don't have the most up-to-date maps. But yeah. Okay, fine. I don't think she wants to be a mod. I think I brought that up to her. I think I suggested that to her, and she was like, no, I don't need that. But,
Go ahead.
But because, Nimrod, you brought it to my attention, I have fixed that issue. Bert, how are you doing? Been a while.
It's extraordinary to be on the far side of the moon right now, just hanging out there and looking back at the Earth. And Ashley and Kaylin, I know you're back in Canada, but if you happen to be watching too, just wanted to say hi to all you guys. Love you guys, and we'll be heading back your way shortly.
Thanks, Jeremy. I hear they are watching, and your family is still here. So thanks for passing that along.
One of the things that what I would recommend doing, and maybe I'll do this, is is to basically, if you've been watching this feed for a while, I've only been watching intermittently for 3 hours or so, and what I noticed was that you can definitely see that the moon has rotated, and what we're seeing is not the actual moon rotating, not so much, it is rotating, but not nearly as quickly as we're observing it to be. We're observing it to be rotating because the integrity is moving relative to the moon. And so what I would love to be able to do, or hopefully someone else will be able to do, is, carve out a chunk of time, because the moon has been in this frame for a really long time, but carve out 6 hours in total, 3 before and 3 after, and cut it out and then run it at very high speed, or speed it up so that, the video is only maybe 30 minutes long or so. So you can really see Landolt? Landolt is going well. That's what you mean, Bert. We just had our first gate review. As far as I'm aware, we have not heard the results of that gate review, but I haven't checked my email over the weekend, so who knows? So yeah, watching the moon rotate because of Integrity's motion I think would be an awesome view. If memory serves, the view that we're seeing is from a camera that is attached to one of the solar cells, which is why we see such kind of a wide angle shot. Oh, apparently we're seeing 2 cameras. So we have 2 cameras, camera 1, camera 2. Both of these are probably attached to the different solar cells, which is why we're seeing kind of Integrity off to the side. You've been watching for over 4 hours. I would have been, but life sort of got in the way of that. But I should also, I think it is worth noting that, the moon is a sphere. So, what I'm actually most excited about, and apparently, let me look at this up. There is a planned communications blackout in about 30 minutes. And so once they come out on the other side, that's probably when I'm going to end the stream. But one of the things that I'm very much looking forward to is what's going to happen is they're going to be passing directly behind the moon. And what that means is that the sun will be eclipsed. So this will provide a wonderful opportunity to study the solar corona, the very high temperature atmosphere that surrounds the outer extent of the moon. I'm hoping that they will be able to, their instrument is sensitive enough that can actually determine the exact extent or some proxy of the extent of the corona. As far as I know, I've never seen a really wide enough shot where you can see the corona. The corona always seems to be extending beyond the field, and so I'm hoping to be able to see it. But more than that, I hear tell that they're going to actually be flipping around, or maybe not flipping around. They're going to be looking at planets. I think they won't be flipping around. They'll be looking at. They mentioned Venus. They mentioned Mercury, and I don't know what else is in that area. But if they're going to look at Mercury and Venus, then they will still be pointing in the moon's direction. And I think they may not want to expend the fuel just to satisfy my curiosity as to take images of the outer planets. But what I'm really hoping is once the sun is eclipsed, they're going to be fully on the dark side of the moon, they're going to be fully in darkness. And what I'm hoping is that we'll see are stars popping out. And if we can see that in real time, I think that will help drive home the argument of why we don't see stars in this image in particular. Although, nope, that's dust. Is because of the dynamic range of the camera. Right now, damn it, we're not going to be, I don't think we're ever going to be able to do that because Artemis is still, well, no, it's going to be in darkness. It's going to be in darkness. So Artemis will no longer be as fuck all bright, and so we might actually be able to see much fainter objects in the field of view without having a glaring light Artemis. The only way to be able to do that is if they adjusted the gain such that they just oversaturated the Artemis image, or the Artemis in the image. I should call it integrity in the image, where it just gets blurred out. You can't see any detail whatsoever. It gets blurred out and actually just kind of oversaturates. No stars unless they change the camera settings, yes. Dark Side of the Moon, I have said this before, and it's a hill I will die on. Dark Side of the Moon is an overrated album. It is not even in my top 3. May not even be in my top 5. Top 3 are The Wall, which is just a masterful album, Animals, and Uma and Guma, or Uma Guma. There's a story behind why I call it Uma and Guma, but those are my top 3. So if I were to rank, and that's I haven't listened to a lot of Pink Floyd in a while, Dark Side would be at most 5th of their best album. But honestly, I think the reason for that is because the radio overplays the fuck out of Dark Side. There's so much better Pink Floyd out there than that. Like Mother, the guitar solo in the song Mother off The Wall is just brain melting. And so it's a hell of a lot better than hearing clocks, a whole bunch of clocks go off. It's really annoying. But, hi, Richie. Do we have night vision cameras to photograph the dark side of the moon? It'll be interesting because I'm trying to think of right now, if memory serves, and I can look this up, is, I believe it is a gibbous moon. Phase of the moon. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see what this looks like. Here we go. This is actually a better website than Time and Date, in my opinion. It is a waning gibbous illumination of 81%, which means, I'm trying to think of, all right, you got the sun over here, you got the earth here, and then if you're looking down onto the north pole of the earth, sun here, earth here, waning gibbous would be about there. So, there's only going to be a sliver of it that's actually going to be affected by earth shine. So I don't know what the backside of the moon is going to look like. I don't know how bright that is. I would expect it's not very bright at all, but it'll be awesome. It's definitely not something that humanity has seen in since the 70s, 60s, 70s. Actually, I don't. I guess it would be. I'm assuming Apollo. Somebody on the Apollo 17 capsule, the guy who didn't actually get to go onto the moon, he probably has seen the dark side of the moon. And that was 72? It's 5 days past full moon. Nice, using the proper nomenclature. When astronomers talk about the moon, we talk about its phases, we talk about age. So a new moon is exactly 0 age. And then the first quarter moon is 7 days old. The full moon is 14 days old. The third quarter moon is, what's the word I'm looking for? I can do math. 21 days old. Hello. It's 5 days past the full moon, so far side almost half illuminated by the sun. Rest only in starlight. So far side is... Yeah, okay. Trying to think of... Yeah, I'm trying to visualize that in my head as to where the Earthshine would be in this situation, and dementia. My spatial reasoning or my spatial awareness has suffered greatly as I have gotten older. Yeah, actually, one third of the far side, I'm assuming, is... I was having trouble visual art. I didn't think it was half. Yeah, no Earthshine on the far side of the moon ever. So in the view that you're seeing here, the dark part of it is actually the far side of the moon. So it is not because of, again, this image is not because of the geometry of the moon per se. It's the geometry of, or it's not the geometry of the sun, earth, moon per se. It is more of the geometry between the sun, the moon, and integrity. Yeah, they were noting Electron Howdy. They were noting, one of the astronauts was noting, apparently he's got a much better view of the moon than we do, because he was seeing things that I could not see. He was saying that the Terminator is extremely jagged. Like, it is not a smooth line because of all the different changes in topography, either due to craters or mountains or what have you. And he noticed that there were white lights on the dark portion of the moon that it looked like islands, sort of like islands to him, and more than likely those are the very tips of very tall mountains that he was seeing. Again, in the feed that we're getting from NASA, could not see it that much, but I'm hoping they'll be able to Obviously, because of those beautiful images of the Earth and the moon, or excuse me, that the Earth, full Earth, and then through the port window. Obviously, they're using cameras that are much better than what we're seeing here. And you know what? I think it's I'm actually kind of both impressed and disappointed. This is a wonderful time for product placement in the sense that they're obviously passing a camera back and forth. Is it a Samsung? Is it an Apple? I would think that these corporations would want to be like, this famous blue marble, that was taken by a Apple, a iPhone 16 or something like that. This image brought to you by iPhone 16. I don't know if that's true, but I'm actually, again, impressed that they didn't do that because I don't think it's really all that appropriate, but also disappointed because I take a certain amount of pride in the disgusting amount of capitalism that we have here in the States. And so I was morbidly disappointed. But that not being said, that does not preclude them from doing that if they do have images taken from that phone from doing it after the mission. So we'll have to see. Yes, they are ahead of. Correct, Clyde. That is a space station. So we're about 20 minutes from communications blackout, so this will probably go black. So either I will switch the stream to the other NASA stream. They're using Nikons in the camera. Judy, are you making a joke? Are you making a P900 joke, or are they actually using Nikons? Because if they're using P900s, that would just tickle me to death. I imagine the blue marble, the new blue marble, was not taken with a cell phone. Because that was actually taken in darkness. That was what you're seeing with that image. If you haven't looked into it, the new blue marble was actually taken when the Earth was in darkness. The sun was basically on the other side, not directly on the other side, but we were looking at the night side of the Earth. But they were able to change the settings, the contrast setting or brightness settings. I don't know. They were able to change the settings that basically showed a nighttime view of the Earth as if it looked like it was in daytime, which to me is just, that has to have an incredible dynamic range in order for you to be able to capture those kind of features as bright as as clear as they are when you're looking at the nighttime view. And that also shows you the power or the amount of, or the amount of moonshine that the nighttime side of the Earth is getting. They are using Nikons. I got it. Okay. All right. Integrity astronauts using Nikon cameras. Nikon D5. Oh, hold on. Okay, so according to NASA, they are using two Nikon D5 DSLRs and a Z9 camera to document the lunar flyby. So, not P900s. According to the AI, a Nikon D5. Howdy, Phil Bell. Hopefully you were doing well. I saw that the post where you educated people on a particular imager. I'm not really going to go into that, but I hope that things are going well for you. I truly do. Nikon D5, selected for its proven reliability in space, This DSLR handles high contrast lighting, hey, and is used for capturing detailed views of the moon's far side, such as the Oriental Basin. It's like the Nikon Z9, the flagship mirrorless camera, is used for high-resolution imaging featuring a 35mm lens, often producing images that closely match human vision. Interesting. Astronauts use various lenses, including a 14 to 24 millimeter for wide-angle shots of the moon, and 80 to 400 millimeter zooms for detailed geologic surveys. I'm assuming, yeah, okay, those are optical zooms. So yeah, well, Zycon. I'm curious to see whether or not Nikon takes advantage of this opportunity when we start seeing commercials for Nikon cameras, because those images of the Earth are just breathtaking. They are just fantastic. Howdy Blue. Nikon makes decent cameras. They buy the cheap ones. Well, I wouldn't call a P900 cheap. I think it's close to, I don't know. I think it's close to $1,000. It's definitely in the several $100 price range. So definitely not cheap for me. Although I am thinking of getting a DSLR camera now that I am acquiring a larger stable of smaller telescopes. I'm thinking maybe I can invest in a DSLR, but I'm still, that's a large expenditure on my part. So what do I not believe? Oh, doesn't believe you. It's not that I don't believe her. I'm surprised. I was surprised that they're using Nikon cameras, and then I had to verify that they were what type of Nikon camera, because if they were using P900s,
Integrity Houston,
that would have been
10
fantastic.
minutes till the LOS will take a snappy sit rep from the cabin if you have one.
Although the P900, I think, actually has been discontinued. Electron, howdy. Is Artemis using a free return trajectory? I actually don't know, so I am going to Google that for you.
Just a 10-minute warning, is that what you're saying?
10-minute warning for the LOS, and I'll take a quick sit rep from the cabin, please.
Yes, apparently it is. Free return, or they're using a hybrid free return trajectory.
We've got Christina in window 2, Ike in Victor in window 3. Reed's actually been trying to get some images out of the docking tunnel. We can see the Earth and the Moon and part of the Moon out of the docking tunnel, which is pretty good. And I'm just grabbing some footage right now with our interior cameras.
So for those of you
Happy
who...
Jeremy, we'd like to know what camera Reed is using and also the status of window 1. Looks like there might be a shroud removed.
Fluffy hair. I need a haircut.
Okay. Reed was using the Z9, and the T-shirt shroud is still on window 1, but we took the camera out of it. So maybe that's what you're noticing. But when I looked in there, I saw a lot of sunlight reflecting around.
Copy. That makes a lot of sense to us, Jeremy. I want to remind you, coming up on this LOS, it will take sit reps in the blind. And as more and more of the moon is in darkness, we will take any report you have on impact flashes.
Now, that, hold on. Okay.
All right, Jenny, you have to say again your last. There's a lot of conversation here, and I was on the other side of the cabin, so I missed all of it.
Look out for impact flashes, and we'll take sit reps in the blind.
Okay, so I had to screenshot this image. Artemis,
Impact
Moon,
flashes,
Earth.
Sit reps in the blind. We got it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Just so you understand what's going on with window 1, there is light coming through the outer hall from window 2 into the inside of window 1, if that makes sense. Like, I can see the inside of the vehicle when I look between the two panes of glass.
Copy.
So those of you who didn't know, including myself, apparently a free return trajectory is a slingshot. Effectively, they are simply using the gravity of the moon in order to propel themselves back to the Earth, and it's hybrid because they are going to be using propulsion as propulsion in any kind of emergency state. So, Earth set. That's just awesome. Yeah, one of the things that I like to highlight to my students, particularly my 103 survey class, is because of the fact that the moon is tidally locked, the Earth does not rise or set on the moon, traditionally speaking. It can rise and set, but only if you're moving. So the Earthrise that you see was taken from the Apollo capsule as it was moving around the Earth. For when they landed, I don't know where the Earth would have been. I would imagine it was pretty close to zenith, but the astronauts would have experienced that the Earth did not change, or did not change in altitude. It just would be frozen in the night sky, or in their night sky, day sky, whatever you want to call it.
Integrity Houston, you are 6 minutes from your 40-minute lunar flyby LOS. From all of us, it's a privilege to witness you carrying the fire past our farthest reach. Thank you. Godspeed.
Thank you for that, Jenny. And thank you to all of you for allowing us the immense privilege to be on this journey together. It's quite amazing. And as we go on this journey, thinking about the NASA mission to explore the unknown in air and space, to innovate for the benefit of humanity, and to inspire the world through discovery. And as you've gone along on this journey with us, hopefully we're doing just those things. And as we get close to the nearest point to the moon and farthest point from Earth, as we continue to unlock the mysteries of the cosmos, I would like to remind you of one of the most important mysteries there on Earth, and that's love. Christ said in response to what was the greatest command, that it was to love God with all that you are. And he also, being a great teacher, said the second is equal to it, and that is to love your neighbor as yourself. And so, as we prepare to go out of radio communication, we're still to feel your love from Earth, and to all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you from the moon.
Beautiful.
Houston
Absolutely.
copies. We'll see you on the other side.
We will see you on the other side.
So in about 6 minutes, they're going to go radio silent as they go beyond or into the umbral part of the lunar shadow. And I think this way. I think they will be there for about 30 minutes. Okay, so it's telling me 40 to 50 minutes, so roughly around 7:30, I think, a little bit earlier. So. Again, if we lose picture, I'll go to the other NASA feed. Yeah. See, Clive, I knew I said too much. Bert, exactly. That is, I took a snapshot of that earlier. Yeah. It's not the best resolution, obviously, but fantastic. And again, you can see that it's, in order to explain the fact that the moon is, well, the way that the Earth is moving behind the moon, that tells us that the spacecraft is moving relative to the moon. Yeah, Blue. I think it's around. Like I said, I think it's around. Well, AI tells me it's around 40 to 50 minutes. I thought I remember 7:35 is when they come out. Wow, that's awesome. Cheshire Cat Earth being swallowed by a Cheshire Cat moon. Oh. I don't know. All right. Signal is degrading. Oh, have I met your neighbors? Not yet. Ha ha ha. Too early, NASA. Oh, it's got to be fake. You can see the Earth in front of the moon. A blue screen like this one? Yeah, electron. I guarantee you someone is going to take a look at that bit and is going to claim that the footage is fake because of that glitch. All right, I'm going to assume that this means radio silence, so let me switch over to this, and I will then... Okay, well, this isn't all that much better, all that exciting, but let's go over here.
This was expected as their spacecraft is now out of direct line of sight with Earth and behind the moon. And this is a poignant moment as it's the first time in over 50 years that we have humans completely unreachable by anyone else on Earth. No matter how distant or secluded, we could reach anyone living on Earth, but while the crew flies behind the moon, it's simply impossible to make contact with them.
From the Earth.
This is a live view inside the Science Evaluation Room here at Johnson Space Center and just down the hall from Mission Control. This team has been monitoring the flyby all day as the team has continued capturing targets on the lunar surface.
Oh,
We
yeah.
even got to see this team in action as they were helping the astronauts identify some of the features they were seeing on the moon but not expecting.
Yeah, identifying them incorrectly. Yes, I still
There
have
will
that
be a
cup.
couple of
I
milestones
definitely, it
during
needs to
this
be,
loss of
seriously
signal.
needs to be washed.
The first will be when
But
the
I have that cup, thank
astronauts
you.
make their closest approach of the moon at MET 5 days, 25 minutes, and 34 seconds, when we expect they'll be 4,067 statute miles above the lunar surface. Their maximum Earth altitude will be reached just 2 minutes later, at 5 days, 27 minutes, and 39 seconds, when their altitude should be approximately 252,756 statute miles. Once those milestones are reached and we have confirmation, we will report the official numbers.
In kilometers, for the love of God, please report it in kilometers. I know you're not, but please, for the children, report the numbers in kilometers. Like,
Throughout the Artemis II mission, astronaut voice, images, video, and vital mission data must traverse thousands of miles, carried on signals from NASA's powerful communications systems, the Near Space Network and the Deep Space Network. Let's learn a little bit more.
NASA's Artemis II will send 4 astronauts around the moon, preparing humanity for a long-term lunar presence and future journeys to Mars. Enabling communication and navigation for this test flight are NASA's Near Space Network and Deep Space Network. With antennas around the world and a fleet of relay satellites, the networks will deliver vital data to and from Earth through all phases of the mission. The networks are seamlessly integrated at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, where Mission Control coordinates the network handovers. These transfers
Stones are
represent
acceptable.
a delicate dance between the two networks,
Or sheep
exchanging
units.
support as the mission shoots toward the moon. On the launch pad and during their early orbit phases, NASA's Orion spacecraft and Space Launch System rocket will rely on communications and tracking services from the Near Space Network. After its translunar injection burn, the Deep Space Network's global array of antennas will serve as Orion's primary communication support during lunar orbit. As the mission journeys farther into space and away from Earth, signal strength weakens and bandwidth is conserved for crew communications. The astronauts will have a near constant connection to Earth, ensuring their safety on a journey farther into space than ever before. We say near constant because as Orion goes behind the moon, a planned loss in communications will occur. The Deep Space Network will be standing by to reacquire the signal as Orion reappears. The Artemis II mission also provides an opportunity to test new capabilities. Using laser links, NASA will periodically transmit Orion data to showcase the benefits laser communications could have for future human spaceflight missions. The data from Orion, sent by radio signals or laser links, is massive. The mission is gathering images, data, and video, while also generating details about mission health and crew voice files. All of that data gets processed here on Earth, where systems compress it for efficiency. In the future, we'll upgrade these systems on Earth so that image and video clarity improve with each moon mission. With the Artemis II test flight, we're evaluating the communications infrastructure that will help carry us into the future as we explore the moon and journey forward to Mars.
okay, I'm trying to mute that. I don't know if I succeeded. But a couple of things. Am I reading that Glomer Mom is no longer with us? I mean, I haven't seen her in a while, but also, apparently Simon Dan, I don't watch Simon Dan, so I couldn't tell you, but apparently Simon Dan just recently did a video about those two gentlemen and how they're reacting to this. I haven't looked into it. Lose their credibility and popularity? I don't know. I mean, I've been monitoring off and on the Earth Awakens mostly.
with the astronauts aboard Orion. And in the meantime, I've got Dr. Kelsey Young, Artemis Science Flight Operations Lead, here with us. Thanks for joining me, Kelsey.
Thanks for having me. This is such an exciting day.
Oh, no kidding.
All
It
right.
has been so cool
I
to hear
am
you
going
communicating
to.
directly with the crew.
All right. Have I muted the talking heads on the That sucks. And yes, I miss Limey too, as well. Okay, yeah. I don't care about the talking heads. Good. Well, if you're interested in what the talking heads are saying, you got closed captioning. So, a while ago, yeah, it kind of tells me, that kind of shows how in touch with things I stay, particularly on the Glober side of the community. At this point, I primarily just hang out on Earth Awakenings and a couple of Glober. Coco's Flat Venus, Omni's new server. What else is there? Oh, occasionally I get on Worldwide Debates, but I had not heard about Globermont passing away. In relation to what you were to Eric, what you were asking, their ability to deny is incredible. Is absolutely mind-boggling. And I'm watching, looking at the folks on Earth Awakens. I don't really get into the voice chats really too much. I did during the launch. I spent about 6 hours in the voice chat at Earth Awakenings when the launch happened and we were watching it. And yeah, they just kept exclaiming, how can you believe this? How can you believe this? Not putting it forth any real substantive arguments as to why what we were looking at was fake, just that it was. And they were shocked that we could believe that this was real in any way. Mostly it was SE, but yeah. I kind of done with Jem's server. I like him, but the server is just kind of, it's really just not a great place really to hang out in terms of things. There's no love there. And I'm glad that the astronaut, whoever it was, used love as a theme for his ending remarks for his remarks prior to going radio silent. Because when I was during my exoplanet class, and I believe I mentioned this in the last stream that I did, they effectively were very pessimistic as to what would happen if we were actually to encounter alien life. And I even asked them, hey, should the president do anything in the way of engagement of making the Earth more welcoming? And they really didn't go for it. They were just kind of like, no. Missiles. I did have the most marvelously American response to this to the situation. I had one particular student who I think has a very, very high opinion of our offensive capabilities, particularly with our nuclear program. Is his suggestion? I was acting as the president, just so you know, any random president, not our current one. And his suggestion to me was, as soon as the aliens came into the solar system, we should nuke them. When one of the other people, one of his classmates, pointed out, what happens if they show up again? What if more aliens show up? His response is, we've got more nukes. So I thought that was the most quintessentially American answer I have heard about in this discussion of aliens. Nuke them in orbit. It's the only way to be sure. And if more of them show up, nuke them too. We got plenty of nukes. So, no, that's okay. Yeah. I knew that because I saw Dave put that on the sign. Dementia is a wonderful thing. We'll just want to nuke them, Donald, by any chance. I don't know. I actually, I have a hard time remembering students' names, but I'll definitely, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. So, so the other thing that I'm going to relay this to my exoplanet class and just kind of leave it with them. Because I also sort of touched on, because I didn't want to get political, obviously, but I sort of touched on what would one do? What would the administration's role be in information control, and particularly in terms of misinformation in regards to any sort of alien detection? I'm not talking about visitation necessarily, just any kind of confirmed or strongly supported report of aliens. And they're like, no censorship. They were particularly amongst they kind of, as a consensus, somebody proposed it, and as a consensus they agreed that the nations that would be responsible for communicating with them with any alien presence would be the UN Security Council. Basically, she said it was 5. It was us, Russia, China, England, or the UK, and France, and somebody else, I think. Anyway, the thing that I found to be curious was they recommended that the president be entirely transparent, completely transparent to the entire Security Council, including Russia and China. But when it came to the public, not so much. They didn't really want a whole lot of transparency. One person actually suggested lying to them, at least initially. So I found that to be obvious, I found that to be intriguing. But what I'm going to pose to them because of their argument is the fact that J.D. Vance apparently believes that aliens are UFOs, are demons, which I find to be deeply problematic. And I don't know, maybe I haven't been paying too much attention, but I caught that from a YouTube creator. I found that out from a YouTube creator. I didn't see that in a news source. Like, the news isn't, as far as I know, hasn't really latched onto that. 5 permanent members of the Security Council, correct. Yeah, the French. And which I find, again, deeply disturbing, because the vice president of our country, the person who is one step removed from being the one of the world leaders. I'm not going to say he is the most powerful, the president is the most powerful world leader, because I don't know if I believe that anymore, but one step removed from being one of the most powerful world leaders believes that UFOs are demons. So not only, now the YouTube creator, it was Conspiracy Cats. That's right, it was Conspiracy Cats. And Was it Conspiracy Cats? I don't know. Again, dementia. The creator pointed out, no, it was Hank Green. It was Hank Green who pointed it out. And Hank was saying that he was annoyed by Vance's announcement because it was a Mott Bailey situation where he would say something very provocative, and then when asked on it or challenged, he would give a very vague, easily a vague response so that it could be, he could weasel himself out of it. He could effectively be able to say, no, you are misinterpreting my thoughts. And I think that Mr. Green was giving him far too much credit, because he was basically saying that his response afterward was basically, things are unexplainable, or things that are out there are unexplainable, and that world cultures have supernatural ways of explaining them. The issue was, even with the follow-up, which was much more mealy-mouthed, much more vague, he still latched a moral judgment, or a moral judgment to it. He claimed that these unexplainable things were evil, or at least he put that in there. He did not allow for the possibility that this unexplained supernatural entity could in fact be angels or something good. He was either neutral or slipped in that there is evil out there. I think he said something along those lines. So, which is deeply problematic. And again, why this isn't getting, obviously there's a lot going on, and there's a lot going on that is far more applicable to human life, or to our everyday lives. We have the wars, we have what's going on with TSA, at least in the States. Yeah, graphic. So they are about a fifth of the way. All right. It's, he was converted. Yeah, I guess he was. I know he's Catholic. I know the Pope told Trump to fuck off. At least specifically Trump and Hegseth, that the idea that we should be praying for our military to kill people is in fact not Christian. It is not what Christ would want us to do. So I was very appreciative that the Pope kind of reprimanded them on that. Because I've always found that to be extremely problematic as well. And then in his Easter homily, he again talked about, love. We shouldn't be killing each other, all that kind of stuff. But again, I've mentioned before, the Speaker of the House believes that the universe is only 10,000 years old. Apparently now we have a vice president who thinks that UFOs are demons. The other thing is which doesn't make any sense, because he said that he was going to look into it. He admits that he has not looked into the government's data, even the classified stuff, the government's data on aliens, and he still claims that they are demons. So this is an example of a worldview. He has a worldview. The hell with evidence. He doesn't need evidence. He just is going to proclaim demons. That's like, how do you not? I guess he's got other things to do as vice president, but I know for myself, if I got the security clearance and access to what the U.S. military knows about aliens, oh yeah, my first weekend, all of that, that would be everything that I would be looking at, reading, whatever. I would be looking at all of that evidence, because hella curious. the speaker. I've not heard that, Johnson. Yes. Tribbles are like viruses. Very true. So we have people in the government who are, I mean, I know this isn't a surprise. I know that they are religiously biased. But to have such ignorant beliefs that are religiously aligned or for religious reasons is, I think that needs to be more front and center. This idea that religious bias is one thing, but discounting actual science in order to promote that worldview, when you are that powerful and have have that level of responsibility in both the executive and legislative branches, we as a society, American society, really need to be having that conversation. Particularly since, I think this is where I was going with Vance, is that, again, he's not looking at this as a positive thing. He believes that any aliens are going to be demons, or at least evil. So, where's the love? Where is the optimism? Where has that gone? You know, I can be cynical as the rest of them. When it comes to these sorts of things, why can we not be aspirational? Sure, stockpile some weapons, whatever. Be ready if if alien life were to be hostile. But why go into it expecting it to be? Because there's no better way of filling your own prophecy than expecting it to be that. So yeah. And considering if they got here, if they did that, they are obviously much technologically advanced, and I'm really hoping they got here by breaking physics as we know it. They would have a lot to teach us. And so blowing them up kind of prevents us from learning how they got here. So, yeah. Coco, I may, in fact, remove your wrench for using that word. We don't use that word on my channel. That is a bad word. I would almost say an offensive word, almost. So, shame on you, Coco. Never use that word again. Not here. They're here for the shaving cream molecule. Sure. Okay. Why not? Yeah. I don't know why they would be here. They're definitely not going to be here for water, because coming here for water doesn't make any sense whatsoever. When you have, I don't know, Europa and Enceladus just kind of sitting there with a whole crap load of ice. So, why water? Terraforming someplace to live? I mean, if they can terraform the Earth, why not terraform Mars? Although, I guess maybe it would be easier to terraform? I don't know. I don't really like talking or speculating on alien motivations. I like to talk about motivations of humanity with respect to alien life. Because, again, I think that points to where we are as a society that are, at least, you know, from what I'm getting from what I'm seeing with our own government and from my small sample size of students, is, you know, is negative, is coming at this from a sort of violent standpoint. It's okay, Coco. I'm not going to remove your wrench yet. Oh, that's Oriental. There it is. That's Mare Orientale. You can see those ridges. That is a multi-ring. That is a multi-ring crater system, and it indicates, or seems to indicate, that you have a shock wave that went through the surface that was a standing wave long enough for the moon to cool off and freeze that standing wave into the surface. That's just awesome. And I'm glad they're highlighting this, because that's one of the, to me, that's one of the most striking features of the moon. And it doesn't get a lot of press because, again, it's pretty much on the limb side. So if you were to look at the moon with a telescope or a pair of binoculars, it would be very difficult for us to see Orientale. Again, the tilting because of nutation would have to be optimal for us to be able to see it. All right, so about 30 minutes from now, we'll see if, again, my diplomatic efforts bore fruit, and the lunar people decided to not blow up the integrity, did not see them as a threat. And I really shouldn't, I really am saying too much. I shouldn't talk about that. You know, when you said sorry, Stark, the first thing came to mind was Iron Man. I didn't realize Stark Otter was in here. Oh, and howdy, Indy. How are you doing? But going back to the Artemis launch, one of the things that I found and I posted, I don't know if they've discussed this yet, because again, I haven't been in the VC, but you know how they've been always asking for putting cameras on these spacecraft to look at the Earth, or, you know, a continuous unedited feed or whatever? Well, apparently they listened, because, yeah, there is, granted, it is edited in this because they are switching between cameras. But there are images, but I would imagine that there is a video somewhere of the Artemis launch from start to orbit that is uncut. So the video that I saw on YouTube was a cut of multiple cameras. Like, they have probably a half dozen cameras, at least on the rocket, going up. Because there's an image of, you could watch in this feed, you could see the rocket boosters fall away. And that was fucking awesome to watch from that perspective. And then from the launch itself, there were like 16 different camera viewpoints you could go to. So I'm curious what Essie and company make with that, because they now have what they asked for. They got multiple, or they got camera feeds during the launch. And granted, in the YouTube videos I posted, it was cut because they switched between camera angles. But the launch footage, the footage looking down onto the Earth from the Artemis rocket, was from launch uncut to the separation of the rocket boosters to just as they were injecting into Earth's orbit. I think you could see the Earth coming into view. I can't remember if you could actually see curvature on that image, but you could see it. Need to check the crew of Integrity have not been replaced by imposters. That's not possible. That's definitely not something we talked about. So, still no good. There wasn't one looking straight up into nothing. Actually, there is one of them. One of the other camera feeds that they flipped to was a camera looking in the opposite direction. So I don't know who, obviously NASA has this footage. I don't know if they're going to ever supply that footage. the camera feeds for each one. But yeah, there was a camera. As far as I'm aware, there isn't a camera feed pointing perpendicular to Artemis, which is what they also want. But there is camera feed pointing down the rocket, and there's a camera pointing up the rocket to integrity. So the astronauts never went up. Yeah, right. Deny. It is amazing to me. I did not think I would be impressed by the sheer. I've seen them deny things that seem to me obvious to me. In this case, I for whatever reason, I was surprised to see how vehemently they were denying it. Not one of them stated something like, okay, now this needs to be explained. Like, this is intriguing. Like, I didn't expect them to believe it, but I expected them to pause and say, hey, we need to look at this footage and, whatever. It was clear they were just going to deny it. And obviously there's going to be footage, or there's going to be streams later from like Leo and whoever, who are going to take it apart frame by frame, and they're going to highlight all the glitches and claim because of the glitches that this was faked. But is Mark Sargent or Dave Weiss? Mark Sargent at the very least believed that the shuttle booster rockets were large helium balloons. Yeah, again, from the 16 different camera angles of it launching, there's no way that those were helium balloons, or those were not solid structures. Anyone who says it, I cannot believe that they would believe that. But I'm going to tag you with the images they are using to show the rocket left without the astronauts. Interesting. Okay. For a second there, I thought that woman was Muslim, and then I realized, oh, wait a minute, no, she's in a clean suit. Ooh, there's the cameras. Nice. Oh, and can I say, the black guy, pretty cut. Like, I saw footage of him shirtless, exercising, whatever, and you gotta give respect where it's due. Dude's in shape. Gotta say. It's curious to me, now that I think about it. They have these Nikon cameras that they're taking images with, and they're relying on the astronauts to do it. I'm wondering why there are no that seems to imply to me that there are no fixed science cameras on Artemis. Like, there's no spectrographs, there's no permanently monitored cameras to take images. They are solely reliant on the astronauts' ability to take images, which I'm sure they've been prepped to death by on what they're supposed to take images of. But I'm actually very surprised that. Well, also, I could be wrong. There could, in fact, be. Just checking the feed, it's still a blue screen. There could, in fact, be a scientific camera on there, but I haven't heard any word from it. Flat Earth is irrational. No. Yeah, I know it. Oh, still using statute miles. course, now I have to ask, why use statute miles? Why not nautical miles? I mean, it is a spacecraft. It is a sea-going vessel, kind of, as it were, so why not use nautical miles? So why statute miles? There's no Moonbase Alpha. It could be in the dark. It could be on the dark side. They just, well, they are taking images, so maybe they'll have footage. Although they're gonna edit it out. I mean, it's gonna be like the Epstein files. There's gonna be black marks on these images. Yeah, Chris, that may be true. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, that there are scientific cameras on there, which are actually, they did this little commercial or thing after it went dark, and they were talking about how they were using laser communication to transmit data. So they may be transmitting the data now if those scientific cameras are there. But I haven't heard about any of that. I guess after the stream I'll look into it to see if there are any cameras built for this, or built for this specifically. But again, I wouldn't, obviously it's probably not all that exciting for the layperson, so you're not going to see it in popular science articles. But I haven't heard any. It should be on space.com. I would have thought that space.com and Live Science would have commented on whether or not there was an actual science camera, a camera devoted strictly to science, on that. Covering for aliens. I would never cover for aliens. Never. Why would I do such a thing? I certainly wouldn't do it for, money and other unmentionable perks. More interesting to see the amazing snapshots. The snapshots are going to be instrumental in, I guess you could say, recruitment. They're going to be instrumental in stirring or creating awe among the populace, to see parts of the moon in high resolution that we've never seen before. That in itself is going to be amazing from a public relations kind of standpoint. Although I don't know, are they taking Fitz images? How can these? Is the image or the data they could extract from these images, like photometry, is this reliable? Like, I don't know. I'm assuming that they are. So you would want to have images that were not compressed, that were taken and they were not compressed when they were output. And I would imagine the Nikon images, I don't know, can you take a raw image, an uncompressed image with a Nikon camera? Maybe you can. Who knows? Yes, I would also cover for aliens if they brought delicious candy, because I can be bought and I am a cheap date. So, yeah. See you, Andy. I hope you have a good rest of your day. More interesting than Joe Sixpack. So they should be coming back into view in around 10 minutes, I think. That is an old image. Oh, that was one of the, I think I actually took a screenshot of that. That was, I think the first time, that was the moon taken later in the broadcast. Hold on. That can't be live. Okay. Live image. Yeah, I'm still getting blue screen on the live image. isn't room for a whole spectroscopic container up there. Well, yeah, they could stick it in the capsule. I mean, that would be containment enough, I suppose. For the Great Kit Kat Caper? Is this where the 3 paintings were stolen in like 30 seconds or a minute or so? Okay, now I'm going to have to Google the Kit Kat Caper. Nope. Kit Kat Caper. The Great Kit Kat Heist. Whatever. Oh. Whatever, Forbes. I'm not sure. Almost 12 tons of chocolate bars were stolen in the Kit Kat Cake 4-finger discount. Couldn't happen to a better company. Central Italy. Yes, Kit Kat Caper is a. I'm going to call it the Kit Kat Caper because alliteration. But when I Googled Kit Kat Caper, it just came up with heist. So 12 tons. 12 tons of Kit Kat. Obviously, the question is, why? What are you going to do with 12 tons of Kit Kats? I guess resell it, but to who? You always eat 48 Kit Kats a day, Your Honor. Yeah. 12 tons. I can't get past that. Stealing Kit Kats is one thing, but 12 tons? How many trucks is that? Like, what is the tonnage of, like, how many tons of Kit Kats can a semi, assuming it's a semi, transport? I can't imagine it was one truck. It had to be multiple trucks. Oh. Well, no, maybe not. The Kit Kats do look to be, these Kit Kat bars may in fact be the F1 chocolate bars from what I'm looking at here. But, oh, hold up. Nope. Still nothing on the camera. Oh, maybe do.
And it is so great to hear from Earth again. To
Are they
Asia,
back?
Africa, and Oceania, we are looking back at you. We hear you can look up
Yeah.
and see the moon right now. We see you too. When we burned this burn towards the moon, I said that we do not leave Earth, but we choose it.
Sorry, I turned them down.
And that is true. We will explore, we will build ships, we will visit again. We will construct science outposts, we will drive rovers, we will do radio astronomy, we will found companies, we will bolster industry, we will inspire. But ultimately, we will always choose Earth. We will always choose each other.
Integrity from Earth, our single system, fragile and interconnected, we copy. Those of us that can are looking back.
We are happy to say we copy.
Yay! So the live feed is showing. I'll switch to it. Hold up. I wonder if they have to wear khakis. Do they have a uniform? I guess they do. Not surprised by it, I suppose. Welcome to Integrity. How can I help you today?
Those first communications back with the astronauts aboard Orion. Christina Cook calling back to what she said just before translunar injection burn, that with this burn, we do not leave Earth, we choose it. The translunar injection burn served as not only what put them on this trajectory to fly around the moon, but what also committed them to splashing down in the Pacific Ocean on Flight Day 10.
Weird. Can't seem to switch. Oh, that's because. Oh no, now it's blue screen. So.
At this time, the crew is entering an observation break. We expect this to last about an hour, and it's probably a welcomed break following their very, very busy day taking pictures, making annotations, making audio recordings, and communicating all of the wonderful things that they are seeing on the moon.
Man, she's using a whole lot of
Observation
hairspray.
break is also partially due to the fact that we will be entering an eclipse later. This will be the first solar eclipse that humans have seen from the moon. The astronauts will need to wear eclipse glasses for the first 2 minutes until the sun is completely covered by the moon, and then they have additional targets that the science team is hoping that they will photograph. We will have communications with them during that eclipse time frame. Because of that eclipse, Orion's attitude must be changed right now so that its solar arrays are in the sun. This will help it charge the batteries needed to power it through that eclipse time frame.
I wonder where the.
This view on your screen is a visualization. The spacecraft now 4,224 miles away from the moon, and that number will now continue to grow. While the number of distance from Earth,
Judy,
252,699 miles, will continue to shrink all the way until our crew is back home.
The live feed from Artemis still shows me blue screen. Oh. It's back. So, hold on. Oh, blue screen. Until that becomes a stable feed, I'm just going to keep it on this. Yeah, sorry there. I was getting distracted with trying to find out because the feed on that you're looking at is different than what I'm looking at. So apparently there's a delay between what I see on this browser and what you're seeing, presumably, on my live stream, which is weird to me. It's all AI. Yeah. We do not leave Earth. Oh, that's going to be the news.
Again,
Buzz
we are
Aldrin.
MET, mission elapsed time, 5 days and 58 minutes since the launch of Artemis 2.
Okay.
We have reestablished communications with the crew and the Orion spacecraft, now entering a little bit of a break while they are out of visibility, or the moon is out of their visibility. The spacecraft will be reoriented to view the moon ahead of an upcoming eclipse.
Okay. That is the view of Artemis, or presumably the moon. That's a whole lot of water bubbles. That's a whole lot of water bubbles. Obviously fake. Obviously fake. That's presumably ice crystals? Presumably? But I am curious what those are. But you do know that over on flat Earth servers, they're referring to that as water bubbles.
Integrity, Houston. In mission control, all of your flight controllers and your flight director have flipped their Artemis 2 patches around. We are earthbound and ready to bring you home.
It's a triangle. How do you flip it, like front back? Rotate?
That's great.
We rocks? See, I don't know. I
The
would.
light of day as we head back to.
That would be awesome. That would be actually be very interesting if those were, in fact, rocks. Probably a little unsettling because they would probably be slamming into the integrity, but I was going to say something. I completely forgot what it was. Obviously, they're having some transmission issues. Oh, they're rotating. They're rotating the cell or the solar cells to look at the sun in preparation of the eclipse. So it's behind the moon, but it's not. It's not as dark as I was expecting. Behind the moon, but it's not in the umbral part of the eclipse shadow, I guess. Astrophage? Could be debris from the lunar, the fighters from the lunar surface that Integrity actually blew up. Because you may not know this, but NASA sent Integrity up with nukes because, America. Damn it, I've said too much. Oh no, that's not dust from the set pieces. That's water bubbles from the set pieces in the NASA training thing you do. Cool, because obviously. That is the most janky. I realize because it's in space, they don't actually have to cover the wiring. That is just the most janky piece of spacecraft I've seen since Apollo. Oh, here we go. I think the sun is coming into view. Okay. Almost there. Almost there. I will be very curious as to what's going to happen to the camera if we continue to pan up. And yeah, I must be lagging behind. There it is. Okay. Because I was getting blue screen on your end and not blue screen on my end. So it's weird. I would have expected it to be the opposite in terms of delay. They're using Irish internet. Yeah. Probably Starlink. It's come back, so I'm just going to let you look at blue screen for a while. Oh no. Again, I'm looking at blue screen. You're not. This is why I was so confused earlier. Monday evening. That's not very specific. Oh, hello. Oh, that's the moon and the sun. Yeah. Why would they call it Imagine? Because obviously the thing to say, or the joke is, imagine you have internet.
Integrity Houston for another comm check.
We have you loud and clear, Houston.
All right, Integrity, we hear you. That was a little clipped, but I think we have a better link now. We experienced some blockage from a solar array. We moved it, and we are in bias tail to sun.
So according to this, the solar eclipse will be tonight at will be an hour, basically an hour from now.
You're coming in loud and clear. And
8:35. 8:35 Eastern.
Affirm and Integrity, just so you know, we did not hear your response once we flipped our patches. Jeremy, we heard you call down, but you were clipped, and then we briefly lost comm. Glad we're back.
That sucked. Of course.
Okay, copy that. We were just excited that we got to share in that you, the MER, and Mission Control have flipped your patches around, and that side of the patch is getting to see the light of day. Thanks for sharing that with us.
I guess it is flipped back and forth, so I guess the patch has both of them. Weird. Been taking screenshots, but they're not on here. Oh, they're just really bad. Okay. For some reason, when I try to do a screen grab of the image that we're looking at right now, the gain goes up, so it actually washes out. You can't see the moon. That's just amazing. Got the sun, the moon. It's just absolutely amazing. Judy, have you been there long enough to pick up a Finnish accent? I would imagine yes. Imagine is a satellite service. Wow. So not only does it suck, but it's also polluting the polluting low Earth orbit, or I guess it would be geostationary orbit. Can't you just have fiber optic, like lay fiber optic cable? Can't imagine that would be too difficult.
Integrity Houston for a tag up pre-forward link LOS in place of the Flight Director Conference.
Okay, Jenny, we're ready.
All right, crew, I'm going to roll through a couple of topics here. The first two are for timeline. First of all, read for your toilet maintenance. It is a shortened toilet maintenance where you do not have to do the oxone changeout. That portion of the procedure is canceled. Victor, you have an HHP stop activity on your timeline. We need you to perform that as scheduled for bandwidth reasons.
No problem.
For your next
Yes.
portion of the flyby, in particular the eclipse, we want to remind you that you can take off the eclipse glasses when the sun sets and you are simply looking at the corona. And then finally, for the D5 with the long or zoom lens, which is set for solar corona, we want to remind you that when you are capturing Earth shine, you will likely have to adjust the exposure. That's all I have for you. Let me know if you have anything for us.
Drive 2.5 hours west of Dublin, you're back in 1940.
Okay, Houston, we copy all. Thanks for those words, Jenny.
Good night, Chris. Thank you for being around. For the rest of y'all, I am probably going to keep this stream going until the eclipse, but I am going to focus on work. So I am just going to sit here and do stuff. So feel free to hang out or not. Feel free to hang out and chat amongst yourselves. I will look over at the chat, and if I see anything that I want to comment, I will comment. But put this over here. I have a lecture to create for tomorrow about exotic exoplanets. AI. I do appreciate how ChatGPT is actually giving me updates on what it's doing. Thank you, Judy, for the 10 euros for some Kit Kats. I don't think I'll be able to buy 12 tons of Kit Kats with that much money, but I don't know what I would do with 12 tons of Kit Kats. But thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, I need to do that. Oh. Okay. Fair enough. Kit Kats aren't exactly my favorite. I am a Snickers man, hands down. Then 100 Grand, probably my second favorite. Baby Ruth is up there. Um, Milky Way is up there. Although, Ro, if you sent me something from Ireland, I think y'all's candy tastes different than our candy. Like your Mars bars are different than our Mars bars by a good fraction. They used to, or there, I guess it's still there. I used to go to this UK grocer that was in Atlanta. She sold exclusively UK items, you know, Walkers, Mars bars, teas of various variety. That's where I got my brown sauce, things of that nature. American chocolate is not that. That's them's be fighting words. Them's just be fighting words. Um, I'm gonna have to take you to Hershey to give you an education. Okay, I would have popped over for sure if going popping over to Germany, I would have done it for the beer, but you know, candy works too. Let me make this do. One is
Integrity Houston, you have 3 minutes until we go into a forward link LOS. We will be back up with you in about an hour during the eclipse on Madrid.
Thanks for the heads up. Look forward to seeing you on the other side.
Likewise.
Yeah, definitely. If I were in the Nordic areas, I would definitely check out their chocolate. I'm not a big foodie, but definitely would check that out. So I appreciate that the astronauts are doing something that our president would not do, and actually wearing, eclipse glasses. I wonder if they have the same. I wonder if theirs are made out of cardboard and mylar or whatever that stuff is, or do they have higher tech, hard, like glass, eclipse glasses. Eclipse glasses with glass, made with glass. There we go. That works. Oh, I was looking at something. Okay, our public tour starts at 8:30. I'll take it. That's not at all. I don't know if I want to go too much into phase change or change it. What's the word I'm looking for? Phase changes? No, that's not the word I'm looking for. Phase changes in ice. There's a word there. States of ice? Something like that. Ice can exist in multiple different. I learned that ice can exist in multiple different states. Apparently, there is ice X that apparently can exist in extremely high pressures and near the cores of certain planets, or at least hypothetically. I have never heard of ice X. I didn't realize that ice could exist in different states of matter or different states of being. That's not lava, that's water. All right, folks, I'll be right back, assuming there's anyone watching. In about 20 minutes, there should be a eclipse of the sun by the moon, and so I am just hanging out until we see that. I think no, that's camera artifact. So, but I will be right back. And I am back for any who happen to be still with me. So. Begin at 8:35, so we're looking at another 20 minutes before just cooking tea. Is that how you refer to that? Guess that works. Here I would say making tea, but cooking. To me, cooking also requires at least three steps, which I guess making tea would qualify. Boil water. Put tea bag in cup. Add water. Remove tea bag. So yeah, I guess that qualified. That's my definition of cooking.
Houston Integrity in the blind. High priority PAO activities on Reed's timeline are on PCD1 in a folder imagery for downlink, and then high priority standby imagery for downlink, and then lunar flyby for PAO, and then high priority PAO. Thank you.
Keep with the Irish. I'm assuming that's the Earth. I don't think that bright spot, the sun, it wouldn't make any sense to me. All right. 12 tons of Kit Kats. I just can't. I can't. That'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Ooh, 7. This is not what I want. Here we go. No, it was not solved. Again, I need to, I'll look into it later, but how many trucks is that? I honestly want to know, how many trucks do you need to transport 12 tons of Kit Kats? I mean, each individual Kit Kat cannot weigh very much. I think it weighs like 30 grams. So, granted, they're not very big, but how many trucks? All right. Shipping container. You think they... Oh, okay. That's like they stole a tanker? No, they just steal the container. You think it was just one? Yeah, I guess you could stick 12 tons of candy in one shipping container. It'd basically be one semi. Would not expect that. I guess it's proof that Kit Kat is fake. Well, you need to poke the squirrels to spin those wheels faster to get better internet. I have a feeling this is not going, they're not going to actually show me what I want to see. Yeah, I think this is going to be very dark and very boring. Okay. I'm looking at the other feed, which is the other NASA feed, which is the official broadcast inside the capsule, and there's a whole lot of light coming in. So they are definitely oriented to look at the sun. And I'll take this opportunity to say that I think it's actually, granted, I'm sure it's not funny to them at all, but I do appreciate that the thing that they comment most that's malfunctioning is the shitter. Which, I would not. That is the one of the bad things about traveling through space like this is having to cramp space, shitter that may not actually work, and the smell. I can imagine that the smell in there is rank. Hopefully they go nose blind very quickly. Yes, it is a very shitty issue. I think they're synchronizing their watches. Okay. when this eclipse happens, it will be the first time that humans will have seen a eclipse. And yeah, I'm going to switch over. This will be the first time that humans have seen an eclipse from orbit. Copy.
Advancements towards space weather forecasts and astronaut protection, which is key to NASA's Artemis program to return astronauts to the moon.
Across our planet, billions of people depend on the invisible networks that connect us to space. Every day, those networks are at the mercy of our temperamental sun and the space weather that it unleashes across our solar system.
That is a beautiful image.
That's why NASA's space weather program tracks solar storms from the moment they erupt, modeling their paths, anticipating their impacts, and leading the research that the world's industries rely on. NASA's space weather research and modeling is driven by the needs of society and enables critical decision-making that equips pilots to reroute around high radiation areas, farmers to adjust GPS-based precision planting and harvesting plans, and power grid operators to mitigate the impacts of potential surges. For those exploring other worlds, NASA provides 24/7 space weather monitoring for Artemis crews at the moon and future Mars astronauts who may be exposed to dangerous levels of radiation during solar storms. Whether you're a pilot or a passenger, a farmer or a consumer, a power grid operator,
Hey,
or
a
energy
farmer,
customer,
that's you.
a satellite controller or GPS user, space weather impacts us all.
This is a live view from the Orion spacecraft on the Artemis 2 mission. It's now been 5 days.
Where
1
are the
hour,
stars?
54 minutes since we launched. We are still in our flyby coverage, and the crew is on a short break right now as we have changed the attitude of the spacecraft to help charge the batteries aboard. We use the solar arrays to gather energy from the sun and store it in the batteries. That
I
way,
use
when
GPS
we are
too.
not in the sunlight, we have those batteries to continue powering Orion. Now we're doing so because the Artemis astronauts are about to experience a solar eclipse from their capsule. And this is a solar eclipse that no one else on Earth will experience. This eclipse is about 54 minutes, and to the astronauts, it'll look a lot like a total solar eclipse on Earth, except the moon is going to be huge compared to the sun.
Yes.
Unlike when you watch one on Earth and the moon and the sun appear about the same size in the sky. We're interested to learn if they see the outer corona when the sun is fully obscured by the moon. And because of how big the moon will be from their perspective, the total phase of the eclipse will last nearly an hour. The astronauts will see a partial solar eclipse as the moon covers and uncovers the sun, which is before and after totality. So, much like us on Earth, they will have eclipse glasses so they can safely view that portion.
Oh no,
Astronauts will
they
also
have
be using
paper.
cameras to capture images of
They
the corona
have
during the eclipse.
dollar store eclipse glasses. Nice.
There also may be some other planets visible during the eclipse, including Venus, Saturn, Mars, and Mercury. If they can identify what part of the sky they're looking at, this can help train future Artemis astronauts on what part of the sky they're seeing. This provides useful knowledge in challenging situations when they may need to rely on that information instead of instruments for navigation and orientation.
It's the sun. Here comes the sun. No, I'm not going to torture you with my poor singing. Just imagine the Beatles, Here Comes the Sun playing. Oh, I think you can see the
Confirmation from teams here on the ground
surface
that we have
of the
reached
moon.
the eclipse attitude, meaning Orion is in the proper position to observe it.
Or that could just be lens flare. But lens flare looks curved. And I think I can see
The
craters.
astronauts' break during this observation period is now over, and we are resuming their lunar flyby observations. The first of these is sunset. This is the solar corona that we'll be looking for. It's the outer atmosphere of the sun. The science team is also interested in if the astronauts can see polar plumes. These are thin streamers that project from the sun's north and south poles. Additionally, they're interested in seeing if the crew can witness coronal loops. These are arcs close to the sun's surface. And something else that we've previously mentioned is lunar dust. This is dust from the moon that is lofted above the lunar surface and illuminated by the sun. It was reported visible by Apollo astronauts.
I'm curious on what is the angular resolution, the resolution they could get for coronal features at this distance with Nikon cameras. Oh, so they just found out that the Artemis 2 patch is front and back. One side has the Earth as prominent and the moon in the upper corner. If you flip it, it's the moon and then the Earth in the upper corner. Integrity apparently was a choice made by the astronauts. The astronauts, apparently it's informally referred to as integrity. Ah. There it goes. That's awesome. Keep using that word.
You're getting a live look from Orion as the crew observes a solar eclipse from the moon. Again, this solar eclipse is only visible to the crew on the spacecraft. It's not visible to anybody on Earth. The science team is interested in several different targets for them during this time frame. And we're personally looking forward to getting those images as well.
Me too.
Again, during the beginning portion of this eclipse, the astronauts will need to use eclipse glasses just like we do from Earth to safely view it.
Actively
Once
trying to
the moon
hide
has
behind the
completely
moon?
covered the sun, they'll be able to take off those glasses for almost
What do you mean
an
by
hour.
hide behind the moon?
Totality on Earth during a solar eclipse lasts only a couple of minutes. So this opportunity gives them a chance to look out into deep space and to look into see if there are other planets nearby.
Imagine what we're seeing is more glare than anything else, but it might be that light. A contribution to that light could be the solar corona. Oh, and welcome, Lightspeed Tracker. I don't think I've seen you here before. Not that I stream all that frequently.
What you're seeing right now is the solar corona. That's the outer atmosphere of the sun. And the science team is very interested in any images that the crew can capture of this. They're hoping that they'll take pictures and describe the visibility, color, and shape of the solar corona as a whole and its substructures, those plumes and streamers.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I could understand definitely the desire to get as far away from the Earth as possible at the moment. I'm not convinced that that's completely the corona. Part of that's got to be glare, but sure, some of that is corona. I wonder what that bright point
In
is.
the blind, this is continues to be unreal. The sun has gone behind the moon, and the corona is still visible, and it's bright, and it creates a halo almost around the entire moon. But when you get to the Earth side, the Earth shine is already shown. I mean, almost seconds after the sun set behind the moon. You could see Earth shine. The Earth is so bright out there, and the moon is just hanging in front of us. This black orb out in front of us, in front of now, not the blackness, but the gray that blends and drifts into the blackness. We can see stars and the planets behind it. And Christina is in window 1, Reed is in window 2 with the long lens, and Jeremy is describing it in window 3, and it is quite an impressive sight. You can still see the horizon lit up brighter where the sun set on that side of the moon. It is bright, and Earthshine is very distinct, and it creates quite an impressive visual illusion. Wow, it's amazing.
I was wondering what that white dot is myself. Earth? No, it wouldn't be Earth. I don't think it's a star. Could be a planet, but again, I have no idea. It's a thingy, yes. I believe that is the technical term. My guess is a planet. But I could be very wrong about that because I don't know where this Earth ends, or not Earth ends. I don't know the extent of the moon. I would think that would be blocked by the moon, but if it is actually there and not an artifact or anything like that, my first guess would be a planet. I did request a star. I did. Well, specifically, I requested
you're looking at a live
stars.
view from the Orion spacecraft on the Artemis 2 mission. Orion is now 252,125 miles away from us all on Earth. We're here in the Artemis mission control room in Houston, Texas. And what you had just before we lost that view quickly was the corona of the sun peeking around the moon as the astronauts are entering a solar eclipse for this portion of the lunar flyby.
What's the dot?
We're now over 5,500 statute miles from the moon. That closest approach today was just about 4,067 statute miles away. Teams in the room beginning to get a little busier and filter in and out as we are stepping through a handover. The Orbit 1 team is handing over to Orbit 2, who will continue monitoring lunar flyby and all of the systems aboard the Orion spacecraft.
Shift change. Yeah. Why not tell me what that dot is? I mean, if you're going to be a talking head, you might as well be a useful talking head. Yes, exactly. She over-explains everything but the white dot. And imagine being so acclimated to watching this satellite that you're bored. You look completely bored sitting at those desks. Checking the list of white dots. If I were industrious, I would pull up Stellarium and see if I could replicate this, or probably Universe Sandbox. I think I could get it Universe Sandbox, but we'd do it. But I am not feeling overly industrious right now. And who is attempting to contact me on?
You're getting your last few views of the solar corona as the moon begins to take center stage and completely cover the sun. If you see that bright dot up near the top left of your screen, we think right now that that may be a part of the spacecraft, but we'll be sure to correct that if we end up figuring out later that it is something else entirely.
Haha. That would be my second guess. The problem I have with it being part of the spacecraft is that it's a dot. So if it were being, unless there is an actual light going on there, I can't see how it would be part of the spacecraft. Because if that was reflected light,
it's been an absolute honor to join you here today for the lunar flyby
If
of
we're-
Artemis 2, the first time humans have flown by the moon in.
okay, I don't think I'm watching what I'm sharing.
Right. I think there may still be corona visible, but that part of the horizon is still lit brighter, and you still have a distinct earth shine.
Yeah, if that were reflected, I would imagine more of the spacecraft would be reflected. The light would be reflected than just a single dot. It's not a lunar feature because, again, where light. The sun is on the opposite side, so there's no way it can illuminate it. Additionally, the sun's on the opposite side, so where is camera essentially to illuminate that thing? So it's either got to be a star or bright planet, Saturn more than likely, if it's Venus more than likely.
You know our rules that we don't talk when the crew is talking, so wanted to give Victor Glover a moment there to call down what he was seeing.
I would
now that
really
the
like
moon
it if
is
they just
covering the sun.
wouldn't talk.
A really amazing time during today's lunar flyby. Again, thank you so much for letting us help tell this story today. I am Leah Cheshire Mustachio, handing it over to my friend Anna Schneider at the PAO console as the Orbit 2 team comes to join us. So thank you so much, and I hope you all enjoy tonight. Anna, you can take it away.
Thank you so much, Leah, and it's been a joy listening to your coverage over the last several hours. So as you mentioned, the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers is currently making their way on console and completing a shift handover with the Orbit 1 team of flight controllers. The Orbit 2 team tonight will be led by Flight Director Diane Daly, and she is currently handing over with the Orbit 1 flight director there on your screen, who was Flight Director Jeff Radigan. the Artemis 2 crew currently on board the Orion spacecraft. It continues to observe the eclipse that they are witnessing. There's about 43 minutes remaining in that eclipse period.
All right, I'm going to stick around for another 15 minutes or so, but then I'm going to bid you all adieu and get back to work, sadly. Like the guy in the maroon shirt, pretty sure he's asleep. He's doing a marvelous Trump impression at a cabinet meeting. Hey, like I said, I'm gonna go with Venus. That's
This is
gonna be
Artemis Mission Control. You are currently seeing a live view of the solar array wing cameras on the Orion spacecraft. We spoke with our science team, and they did determine that that dot in the distance is Venus.
booyah. That is, I'm right. Venus for the win. See, they should have called me. I could have told them that a long time ago. Yeah, I have a lot of work to do, actually. It's actually causing me quite a bit of anxiety, I'll be honest with you. Thank you. Thank you. You were grand as well. Oh, there are people attempting to contact me on Discord. Is this the record? Because I thought they were coming back. I thought they had already hit max altitude. But nope. According to this,
science integrity. Let's see, not a huge change in here, just an update. The camera settings for Earthshine
they're coming back.
are challenging. This one's challenging to capture. What we're seeing, we're just not picking up on the cameras. And after all of the amazing sights that we saw earlier, we just went sci-fi. This has, it just looks unreal. You can see.
We just went sci-fi. Flat Earthers are gonna love that.
Between, I guess the Earthshine. I guess Earthshine. You can actually see a majority of the moon. It is the strangest looking thing that you can see so much on the surface.
This is Artemis Mission Control. You were just hearing some communications called down from NASA astronaut Victor Glover, currently on board the Orion spacecraft. They are currently observing an eclipse. There's about 39 minutes remaining in that eclipse period. Currently, we are in a forward link LOS, or loss of signal, so the crew can communicate down with...
Reports, he's seen 2 meteors, science.
So we are in a forward link loss of signal. do expect to regain signal in about 3 minutes, and at that point then the ground can communicate back up to the crew on board the Orion spacecraft. In the meantime, the crew can continue to communicate down to the ground. The ground is just unable to respond, so they are continuing to provide some science observations during this eclipse period. They've made some comments about Earth shine, which is the sunlight reflected from Earth when they come around towards the moon's near side late in this flyby window.
Some science observations, yes, I think that's what they're calling the Nikon images. Man, that is a lot of hairspray. Whatever feed I'm looking at now, which I thought was actually this feed that I'm showing you, the female astronaut just passed in front of the camera. Her head just passed in front of the camera. Her hair is pretty much everywhere. That is weird. Certainly doesn't flow like it's in water. Helmet head. So according to Cuddles, the Epstein files were so bad that we started World War III and faked another moon mission. Yeah, actually, I would agree with that. I'm just kind of geeking out trying to figure out how, from a physics standpoint, how you would describe the motion of hair in space or in free fall. Or, I guess this is free fall exactly. But No, I guess it would be free fall. Or not accelerating. Well, it's not like we can ask for directions. Well, I guess we could ask for directions from ground control, but... All right, folks. That's it for me.
Science, integrity, and the blind. The glow around the moon is beginning to become a little bit more even. It's not so much distinct just where the sun set on the moon's horizon as we're flying through this trajectory, and then the sun's going to come up out of the other side. I think we're starting to see the glow around the moon get balanced out. I still see Earth shine, and the Earth is very bright out there. Still quite an unreal sight.
Integrity Houston, we have that sit rep loud and clear, and we are back with you. How do you hear me?
Hey, Jenny, we have you loud and clear. Thanks.
Copy. Victor, we're handing you over to Science for some critical questions. Thanks for your reports.
All right, folks, I think that's me.
Integrity Science.
Thank you
We were
for
loving your
being
Science
here.
Direct in the blind, and it should come as no...
I'm going to mute that. So yeah, I'm Professor Parks, and I advocate for the advancement of astronomy. Thank you for sticking around and watching this momentous occasion with me where Artemis had gone behind the moon, lost contact for about 50 minutes, and at least we were watching the very beginning, or the first half, of the solar eclipse as seen by the Artemis astronauts in their travel. As they pointed out a couple times, that is the only place in the solar system you would be able to see that particular eclipse. So without further ado, I would like to bid you all a good night. If I could find this, I would like to bid you all a good night. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider becoming a member. Occasionally, I do make member-only videos concerning events that are surrounding the Landau mission and that I'm allowed to talk about, and the observatory itself. If you'd like to help me, then please consider, channel member helps me. Becoming a patron helps the observatory. All of that money goes back into the observatory, so I can buy knickknacks, odds and ends, that sort of thing. So I hope you all have a good morning, night, wherever it is. Peace out. Clear skies.